Elias, a simple human mechanic, walked across the quiet alien valley, his boots crushing the dry soil with every slow step. The sun on this planet was larger than Earth's sun, and its bright orange light covered the land like fire. Elias was here for one job: only repair old mining machines, so he could earn enough credits to survive another month. He did not know that today his life would change completely. He did not know that someone deep inside the abandoned mines was waiting for him. The mine entrance stood ahead of him, silent and cold. Large stones blocked half of the doorway. Old warning signs, written in an alien language, shook gently in the wind. Elias felt a strange chill run down his spine. He was a death worlder, a tough human from a harsh planet. But still, something about this place felt wrong. He took a deep breath and stepped into the tunnel. Inside, the air was thick with dust. His flashlight cut through the darkness, showing broken rails, crushed helmets, and old cables hanging like snakes from the walls. Every few seconds, small stones fell from the ceiling, echoing through the empty corridors. Elias muttered to himself, "Just fix the generator and leave, that's all." But his voice sounded too small inside the huge cave. After walking for 10 minutes, he reached the heart of the mine, a giant metal chamber where the workers once stored energy crystals. His flashlight flicked for a moment. The walls around him began to glow with strange symbols. Elias stopped immediately. He had never seen alien markings react to a human presence. He took a step closer, and the symbols glowed brighter soft blue, warm purple, shining gold. And then he heard it, a sound very soft, very small, and definitely not human. "Hello," Elias whispered. The sound came again, this time clearer. It was not one voice, it was three voices speaking together in a weak, trembling tone. "You came, Earthfather." Elias froze in place. His skin tightened, his hands trembled. There was no one else in the mine. He was supposed to be alone. He lifted his flashlight, scanning the corners, the cracks, the shadows. The voices repeated, "We waited for you." Elias stepped back, breathing fast. He wanted to run. Any normal human would have run. But something deep inside him, a strange pull, forced him forward. It felt like the voices were calling only to him. He followed the weak sound to a narrow tunnel on the left. It was half collapsed. He squeezed through, getting dirt all over his jacket. The air inside was colder, heavy, almost freezing. At the end of the tunnel, he found a small hidden chamber. 3 glowing cocoons rested on a stone platform. They were cracked, like eggs ready to open. Soft light leaked from the cracks. Elias stared at them, unable to move. Then the first cocoon opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a small alien child, no bigger than a human toddler. Its skin was pale silver, its eyes large and bright like liquid stars. The child trembled and reached toward Elias with tiny hands. "Earthfather," it whispered. Before Elias could react, the second cocoon opened, another child. And then the third, triplets, all weak, all scared, all staring at him. Elias shook his head. I'm not your father," he said softly. But the children crawled to him, pulling at his sleeve with desperate hands. Their bodies were cold. They were breathing fast and shallow. Elias felt his heart twist. Humans were famous for their protective instincts, especially toward children. Even alien children. He knelt down. Hey, it's okay," he whispered, his voice gentler now. The first child touched his hand and whispered, "You came." Like the light said. "What light?" Elias asked. The second child looked at him with wide eyes. "The prophecy. The Earth Father will come, he will save us." Elias' breath caught. Prophecy? Earth Father? What were they talking about? Before he could ask more, the ground suddenly shook. A deep rumble echoed through the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The triplets clung to him, terrified. "Something is coming." The third child whispered. Elias picked them up without thinking, holding all three close to his chest. His heartbeat pounded fast. Something big moved in the tunnel behind him. Heavy footsteps. Metal scraping against stone. He did not know what was chasing them, but he knew one thing. He could not leave these children behind. With the triplets in his arms and fear rising in his chest, Elias ran out of the chamber as fast as he could. The mine behind him roared like a waking beast. And the mysterious voices were only the beginning. Elias ran through the dark tunnels with the three alien triplets in his arms. His flashlight shook wildly in his hand, throwing broken shadows across the stone walls. Behind him, heavy footsteps echoed like thunder. Something was chasing them. Something big. The triplets held onto him tightly. Their small fingers clung to his jacket with surprising strength, as if their lives depended on him alone. When Elias finally reached the outside, he gasped for breath. Cold air hit his face. The orange sun had dipped lower, turning the sky purple. The valley around the mine was quiet. Too quiet. He set the triplets gently on the ground. They looked weak and tired. Their silver skins shimmered softly in the fading light. Elias knelt down, trying to understand what he had just walked into. "Okay, who are you really?" he asked softly. The triplets exchanged looks. They were identical, same silver skin, same bright star-like eyes, same small trembling hands. But each of them carried a different kind of sadness. The first child raised its arm. A glowing mark on the wrist shined like a small golden crown. "We are heirs," the child whispered. The second child touched its chest, where a blue symbol pulsed like a heartbeat of the royal line. The third child lifted the back of its neck, showing a glowing purple star. "And she is looking for us," Elias blinked. "Royal? You mean you're royal children?" All three nodded slowly. Elias ran a hand through his hair. He was just a mechanic. He repaired engines, welds, and solar panels, not destinies, not prophecies, not royal families. But here he was, stuck with three glowing alien kids calling him Earthfather. The first child stepped closer and placed a hand on Elias's knee. "You saved us," it said. "That makes you our protector." Elias opened his mouth to argue, but suddenly the ground vibrated again, lighter this time, but enough to make the children shiver. "They're coming," the second child whispered. Elias turned sharply, scanning the valley. For a moment, everything was still. Then he heard it, the rustling of armor, the sharp sound of weapons being loaded. Shadows moved between the rocks. A group of alien soldiers stepped out, their armor black and glowing with red lines. Their eyes locked onto the triplets instantly. "Found them," one soldier hissed. "The heirs are alive." Elias stood up, placing himself between the soldiers and the children. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The first soldier pointed a weapon at him. "Human, hand over the royal offspring. You have no idea what you're involved in." "I don't care," Elias answered, surprising even himself. "They're kids." The soldier laughed harshly. "Kids who belong to the crown. Kids who were supposed to die today." Elias's chest tightened. "Die? No witnesses. No future rulers," the soldier said coldly. The triplets whimpered softly behind Elias. Their tiny hands grabbed his shirt. Shaking. Elias felt something burning inside him, anger, something deep and protective, something human. "You're not touching them," he said, his voice steady. The soldiers cocked their weapons. Elias's mind raced. He had no weapons, only his tool belt. But humans were famous across the galaxy for surviving impossible situations. And Elias was a death worther, stronger and tougher than most species. He grabbed a flare rod from his belt and slammed it into the rocky ground. A burst of bright red light exploded upward. The soldiers shielded their eyes. Stumbling backward, Elias scooped the triplets up again and dashed behind a large boulder. The soldiers recovered quickly. There! Don't let the human escape! Laser beams shot past him, cutting through the air. Elias ducked behind rocks, rolling and sprinting with all three kids held tightly. The triplets pressed their glowing symbols together. Whispering in their alien language, suddenly a shimmering blue shield formed around them like a bubble. Elias stared, amazed. "You can do that?" The children nodded weakly. Only for a moment. The shield held long enough for Elias to run deeper into the forest bordering the valley. Trees towered above them, their leaves glowing softly in the dark. Strange insects buzzed around, lighting the path like fireflies. When they were finally far from the mine, Elias collapsed beside a tree, panting hard. The triplets gathered around him. "You protected us," the first child whispered, "for someone not our real father." "You act like one," the second added. The third touched his hand gently. "That is why we call you Earth Father." Elias looked at them, three fragile, glowing alien children who trusted him completely. He sighed deeply. "I don't know why you chose me, but I promise I won't leave you." The triplets smiled weakly, but their smiles faded when they heard a sudden rustle in the forest. Something else was watching them, something powerful, something that made even the alien soldiers afraid. Elias tightened his grip on the children. Whatever was coming next, he would face it with them. The forest around Elias was dark and glowing at the same time. Strange plants lit the ground with soft blue light, and tall trees whispered in the wind like they were alive. Elias kept his back against a thick tree trunk, breathing slowly, trying to stay quiet. The triplets sat close to him, their small bodies shaking after the long run. But their eyes stared into the woods with fear. "What is it?" Elias whispered. The first child pointed with a trembling finger. "They followed us." Elias listened carefully. At first he heard nothing, but then soft metal clicks, armor rubbing against bark, and the heavy thud of boots approaching. The soldiers from the mine had tracked them into the forest. Elias clenched his jaw. "Stay behind me." The triplets pressed closer. Elias stepped forward just as three armored alien soldiers emerged from the shadows. Their armor glowed red in the dim light, and their long rifles aimed directly at him. "There's nowhere left to run, human," the leader said. "Give us the heirs." Elias spread his arms wide, blocking their view. "You're not getting them. You are only a mechanic," the soldier sneered. "You cannot stop trained warriors." Elias felt fear in his stomach. But something else rose above it: determination. These children trusted him. They believed in him. And humans were known for doing impossible things when protecting someone innocent. "I don't care who you are," Elias said. "You'll go through me first." The soldier laughed a cruel, confident laugh. "Very well." He raised his weapon, but Elias was faster. He threw a flash tool from his belt, a small metal tube that exploded into a burst of blinding white light. The soldiers staggered, covering their eyes. Elias seized the moment and rushed forward. He grabbed a heavy branch from the ground and swung it with all his strength. The branch cracked against the soldier's helmet, sending him stumbling backward. Elias dodged a laser shot from the second soldier and kicked him straight in the chest. The alien fell hard, his weapon dropping, but the third soldier recovered quickly and aimed again. "Move, Earth Father!" The first triplet cried. The triplets touched their glowing symbols together again. A faint blue wave pulsed outward. It wasn't a shield this time, it was something else. The soldier suddenly froze, dropping his rifle as his limbs stiffened. What did you do?" Elias asked. "We slowed him," the second child whispered. "Only for a few breaths. Then we need to run." Elias said. He picked up the triplets and sprinted deeper into the forest. Behind him, the soldiers shouted and chased again. Elias dodged trees, ducked under vines, jumped over roots. His legs burned, his chest ached. But he didn't stop. The triplets whispered desperately in his arms. "They will keep coming," the third child warned. "They won't let us go." Elias kept running until he reached a wide clearing surrounded by glowing stones. Mist floated above the ground. The air felt colder, almost magical. "We should not be here." The first child whispered, "Why?" Elias asked. Before they could answer, a new sound cut through the forest, one Elias had not heard before. A deep, echoing roar. The soldiers stopped instantly. "Retreat!" one shouted. "Retreat from the sacred ground!" The triplets trembled. "She is here." "Who?" Elias asked, but before he could finish his question, a huge shadow descended from the treetops. A tall figure jumped into the clearing, landing on both feet with the grace of a warrior and the force of a storm. She wore dark purple armor decorated with silver markings. Her crown glowed with blue fire. Her wings, large, strong, and shimmering, folded slowly behind her. Her eyes locked onto Elias. Elias felt his heart freeze. She was not a soldier. She was something more. Something powerful. The soldiers who had been chasing them immediately dropped to their knees. "Your Majesty." The queen ignored them. Instead, she walked toward Elias slowly, her armored steps echoing across the clearing. Her gaze moved from the trembling triplets to Elias's face. She was tall, elegant, dangerous, and glowing with authority. Elias stepped back, unsure whether she was friend or enemy. The triplets began to cry softly, but not from fear. From relief. The first child whispered, "Mother." Elias froze. Mother? The alien queen was their mother? The queen stopped in front of Elias. For a moment, no one spoke. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Then the queen did something that shocked even her own soldiers. She lowered herself, slowly, gracefully, onto one knee before the human. Her head bowed. "Human," she said in a powerful but gentle voice, "you saved my children. You protected the royal bloodline. For that, I kneel before you." Elias stared, stunned, unable to move. The triplets touched his shoulders gently. "We told you," they whispered together. "We waited for you, Earth Father." And in the silent forest, everything changed. The forest clearing felt strangely calm. After the queen knelt before Elias, the glowing stones surrounding them pulsed softly, lighting the mist around their feet. Elias stood frozen, unable to understand why a royal alien queen taller, stronger, and more powerful than any being he had seen would bow to a simple human mechanic. The soldiers stayed on their knees, eyes wide with fear and confusion. No one dared breathe too loudly. The queen slowly rose to her full height. Her wings shifted behind her with a soft metallic rustle. She studied Elias with a deep, searching look, one that made him feel as if she already knew every secret he carried. "You protected my children," she said, her voice echoing through the clearing. "You carried all three through danger with no fear for your own life. That is what the old light foretold." Elias frowned. "The old what?" The queen turned slightly and looked at her triplets, now standing beside Elias, still holding his hands like they belonged there. "It is time," she said softly. "He deserves to know." The triplets nodded. Elias slowly sat on a large stone, still catching his breath. The queen stepped closer, removing her helmet. Her face was sharp and elegant, framed by silver hair that flowed like liquid metal down her back. Her eyes glowed with a warm, ancient light. "I am Queen Serapha of the Astral Claw Empire," she said. "These three are my heirs, the future rulers of our people." Elias blinked. "Okay, but why do they call me Earth Father?" Queen Serapha lowered her gaze. The triplets stepped forward, their little hands glowing faintly. "We were told," the first child said, "that a human would come. The light said you would protect us," the second added. "You are part of our story." The third whispered. Elias rubbed his forehead. "Story? What story? Queen Siripha knelt down again, this time at eye level with Elias. There is an ancient prophecy, she said. A warning and a promise passed down through our bloodline for 1,000 cycles. Elias swallowed. Prophecy sounded too big for a mechanic who fixed old engines. A prophecy about me? He asked quietly. Yes, the queen answered. It spoke of a man born on a death world, a man with unmatched courage, a man who would defend the royal children when all others failed. Elias shook his head. I'm not brave, I'm not a hero. I'm not even a soldier. You faced armed assassins with only your tools, the queen replied. You shielded my children with your own body. That is more than bravery. The triplets nodded with bright, trusting eyes. You came, they said together. You saved. U.S. Elias looked at their small hands wrapped around his fingers. Their trust felt heavy, but meaningful. The queen continued. The one who protects the heirs becomes part of them. They bond to him. That is why they call you Earthfather. But I didn't do anything special, Elias whispered. The queen's gaze softened. To protect a child, any child, is the greatest act of any being. Silence settled again, until Elias heard branches snapping. Something moved at the edge of the clearing. A new fear crept into the children's eyes. They are searching for us, the first triplet whispered. The assassin general will find us soon. The second said, we must leave. The third added. Queen Siripha nodded. They will not give up. They want the throne. They want chaos. Elias's stomach twisted. So, someone is trying to kill your kids to take your empire. Yes, the queen replied. And you, Earthfather, now carry the bond that ties you to them. The enemy will hunt you as well. Elias took a deep breath. He had come to fix a generator. Now he was part of a war. The queen turned to her soldiers. Prepare to move. But suddenly, a sharp whistle cut through the forest. The soldiers jumped to their feet. A blast erupted nearby, shaking the ground. Birds scattered. Rocks tumbled from the cliffs. Queen Siripha spread her wings and shielded the children. Elias covered them too, both trying to guard the triplets from the falling debris. When the dust cleared, a group of new warriors appeared, larger, heavier, and with dark armor painted with a skull symbol. The lead warrior stepped forward, helmet glowing crimson. Your Majesty, he growled. You shouldn't have left the palace. Now, all of you die here. Elias tightened his grip on the triplets. The queen rose slowly, fury burning in her eyes. You threaten my heirs in front of their Earthfather? She said coldly. The warrior pointed his blade at Elias. We will kill the human first. Elias felt his heartbeat pound. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a hero. But the triplets held on to him, trusting him completely. And Queen Siripha looked ready to tear the forest apart to protect her children. Elias stood tall. I won't let you hurt them, he said quietly but firmly. The queen stepped beside him. Then we fight together. The clearing filled with tension, glowing lights, and rising power. The real battle had just begun. The forest clearing had never felt so small. Elias stood beside Queen Siripha, while the 3 alien triplets hid behind him, their small hands gripping his jacket tightly. The enemy warriors, bigger, heavier, and covered in armor marked with skull symbols, surrounded them in a half circle. The leader of the attackers stepped forward. His armor was black with red lines stretching across it like lightning veins. His face remained hidden behind a crimson helmet. You should have stayed hidden, Your Majesty, he growled. Your people need a strong ruler, not a weak queen who kneels before a human. Queen Siripha's wings flared open, glowing with blue fire. I kneel to honor courage, she said, not weakness. The triplets trembled behind Elias. Their bright eyes shined with fear and hope mixed together. They knew their mother was strong. But this enemy general was infamous across the empire. Slowly, he raised his weapon, a long spear glowing red. Kill the human first, he commanded. then take the heirs. Elias felt his heartbeat jump. His hands shook not from fear for himself, but fear for the children pressed against his back. Queen Siripha did not hesitate. She stepped in front of Elias and slammed her spear into the ground. A shockwave burst outward, shaking the trees and scattering leaves in a glowing spiral. "You will not touch him," she said. The enemy general charged. The queen met him in the center of the clearing. Their weapons clashed, sending sparks flying through the air. The sound echoed like thunder. Elias shielded the children as the ground split under the force of their blows. The queen fought with grace and fury. Her wings moved like blades. Her spear flashed through the air in sharp arcs, but the general was powerful, stronger than any soldier Elias had seen before. Every strike from the queen was matched with equal strength. Every dodge was followed by a vicious counterattack. Elias knew he had to do something. He scanned the ground for anything useful: stones, branches, metal, anything. His eyes fell on his tool belt. He grabbed a plasma torch and flicked it on. The blue flame burst to life. "Stay here," he whispered to the triplets. "No," the first child cried. "You are bonded to us. If you go, we go." The second child held his sleeve. "You will get hurt." But Elias gently pushed them back. "I'll be okay," he said, though he wasn't sure. He ran to the edge of the clearing. The general swung his spear and knocked the queen backward, sending her sliding across the ground. She hit a tree but rose again, breathing hard. Her armor cracked. Her crown flickered. The general approached her, raising his weapon for a killing blow. Elias acted without thinking. He lunged forward and slashed his plasma torch across the general's spear. The heated metal sizzled. The attack missed the queen by inches. The general turned slowly toward Elias. "You dare interfere?" Elias swallowed. "Yeah," he said, "I dare." The general struck at him with terrifying speed. Elias ducked, rolled, and grabbed a handful of glowing dust from the ground. He threw it into the air. The dust burst into bright sparks, blinding the general for a moment. The queen seized the opportunity. She leapt forward, wings blazing, and slammed her spear into the enemy's chest. He stumbled back, armor cracking, but he did not fall. "You cannot stop destiny," the general growled. "The heirs will die." The triplets stepped closer, hands glowing bright with psychic energy. "You will not hurt our Earth Father," they whispered together. A burst of purple light exploded from the triplets, hitting the general like a wave. The force sent him flying across the clearing. He crashed into a rock and collapsed. The forest became silent. Only the sound of the queen's heavy breathing filled the air. Elias rushed to the triplets and hugged them tightly. "You're okay." "Thank goodness." Queen Siripha walked toward him slowly, her armor cracked but her eyes soft. "Human," she said, voice filled with emotion. "You risked your life for my children." "You risked yours too," Elias replied. The queen looked at the triplets, then at Elias. Slowly she removed her crown and placed it on the ground before him. The soldiers around them gasped. "No." One whispered, "The queen bows again." Queen Siripha knelt once more, not because he was strong, not because he was powerful, but because he acted with the heart of a father. "You are not only their protector," she said. "You are part of our royal line now. You are the Earth Father." Elias felt his throat tighten. He had never asked for this. He was a mechanic, a simple human. But the queen and her children trusted him with everything. Before he could speak again, a deep rumble shook the forest. The general rose slowly, armor glowing red with rage. "This is not over." Elias stepped in front of the triplets again. The queen stood beside him, and together they faced the enemy as a family. The enemy general rose from the ground like a living nightmare. His armor cracked, but red energy leaked from the broken plates, making him look even more dangerous. His eyes glowed from behind his crimson helmet, burning with hate and pride. Queen Serapha stepped forward with her spear raised. Elias positioned himself in front of the triplets, spreading his arms protectively. The children clung to his back, their small hands gripping his jacket. Their glowing marks flickered weakly. They had used too much energy already. The general dragged his spear along the ground, sparks flying behind him. "You think you won?" he growled. "You think one human and 3 weak heirs can stop me?" He pointed his weapon at Elias. "You die first." Elias felt fear strike deep into his chest. He was only a human, a mechanic not trained for war. But he didn't move from his place. Because if he moved, the children behind him would be exposed. Queen Serapha stepped beside him. "You will not touch the Earth Father." The general laughed loudly. "He is no father. He is nothing." Elias clenched his fists. Maybe he wasn't special. Maybe he wasn't a hero. But these children trusted him, and that was enough. General charged. The queen met him halfway with a roar. Their weapons clashed again, lighting the clearing with blue and red sparks. The force of the impact shook the trees, and birds scattered in panic. Elias watched the fight for a moment, terrified and amazed. The queen's wings spread wide, slicing through the air with glowing trails. She attacked with speed and precision, every movement sharp and powerful. But the general was not slowing down. He grabbed the queen's wrist, twisted her arm, and threw her across the clearing. She slammed into a tree and fell to one knee, coughing. "Mother!" the triplets cried. Elias ran to her side. "Are you okay?" "I will stand," she said, her voice strained. "But he grows stronger. His armor is feeding him." The general spread his arms, red energy swirling around him. "Bow before me," he said. "Give me the heirs, and I may give you a quick death." Elias stood between the queen and the general again. "We're not giving you anything." The general raised his spear. "Then all of you die here." He charged again. This time Elias didn't run. He grabbed a metal tool from his belt, a shock baton, and activated it. It buzzed with blue crackles of electricity. The general swung at him. Elias ducked under the spear, rolled forward, and jabbed the baton into the general's leg armor. Electricity burst through the metal. The general roared and stumbled back. "You pathetic human!" Elias backed away fast. His heart raced wildly. He knew he couldn't fight forever. The triplets ran to him, holding his legs. "We can help," the first whispered. "But we are tired." The second added, "We need your strength." The third said. Their glowing marks shined brighter as they placed their hands on Elias's arms. A warm light flowed into him, soft, gentle, like a heartbeat joining his. Elias felt something change. His fear calmed. His vision sharpened. His legs steadied. "We share our energy," the triplets whispered. "Just for a moment." The general charged again, roaring. Elias stood tall. He stepped forward and swung his shock baton hard, hitting the general's arm. The weapon crackled with amplified energy mixed from the baton and the triplets' strange power. The impact sent the general sliding backward, his armor sparking. Queen Serapha rose behind Elias, wings glowing bright. "You are stronger than you believe, Earthfather." For the first time, Elias actually believed it. The general yelled and launched into a final attack, swinging his spear in a furious arc. Elias dodged left, rolled, and struck the general's knee. The queen leapt from the side and slashed her spear across the general's chest. The armor finally shattered, exploding into fragments of red metal. The general fell to the ground, breathing heavily, defeated but not dead. He stared at Elias, rage burning in his eyes. "You think this is victory?" he spat. "The Empire will never accept a human bonded to the heirs. This war is just beginning." Elias tightened his grip on the triplets. Queen Serapha stepped forward, placing her spear at the general's throat. "The Empire will accept what I command." The general hissed but said nothing more. The queen turned to Elias and bowed her head. Human, you fought beside us. You protected my children. You carry their bond. You are not one of us. Her wings folded gently. Yet you are part of our family. The triplets hugged Elias tightly. We knew you would come, Earthfather, they said softly. Elias exhaled. He looked at the children, at the queen, at the fallen enemy, and realized something. He wasn't just protecting them anymore. He belonged with them. But as the forest quieted, distant horns echoed from the mountains. More soldiers were coming, and the real challenge had not yet begun. The forest was quiet, but Elias could feel danger moving toward them like a slow storm. The distant horns echoed again, deep, old, and filled with power. Queen Siripha's wings folded tightly against her back as she stared toward the mountains. They are coming, she said softly. More assassins? Elias asked. No, the queen answered. My army. Elias blinked. Your what? Before she could reply, the ground trembled. Leaves fell from the tall, glowing trees. A heavy wind rushed through the clearing. The triplets huddled closer to Elias, their small hands clutching his shirt. Then the sky opened. Dozens of royal ships descended from above, their silver hulls shining like stars. Blue energy flowed under their wings as they landed around the clearing in perfect formation. Every ship bore the queen's emblem, a glowing claw wrapped around a crown. The moment the ships touched the ground, hundreds of elite royal guards stepped out. They wore golden armor with white patterns, nothing like the dark assassins from before. Their eyes locked onto the triplets instantly. Shock, relief, and awe spread across their faces. The heirs live. One soldier shouted. More soldiers dropped to one knee. The royal line survives. Elias watched the scene with disbelief. He had gone from fixing machines to standing in the center of a royal army. Queen Siripha raised her hand. All soldiers bowed deeply. Your Majesty, they said in one voice. You came just in time. The queen said. The general, the enemy general who had been defeated, was dragged forward by guards. They forced him onto his knees. His armor was broken, sparks flickering from cracked plates. Queen Siripha looked down at him with fire in her eyes. You tried to kill my children. You betrayed your people. The general spat at the ground. They are weak. You are weak. The empire needs someone strong. The empire does not need cruelty, the queen answered. It needs unity. She then turned toward Elias and courage. The soldiers lifted their heads, finally noticing Elias. Properly, their expressions shifted from confusion to shock to awe. Queen Siripha stepped aside, giving them a clear view of the human standing protectively in front of her children. One soldier whispered, Is that the Earth Father from the prophecy? Another gasped, The human who saved the heirs. The queen lifted her voice. Hear me, all of you. Every soldier in the clearing stood at attention. This human risked his life for my children. He fought beside me against a traitor. He carries the bond of the heirs, something no other being has ever done. Elias felt all eyes land on him. His heart pounded. He looked down at the triplets, who smiled proudly. Queen Siripha continued. He is not only their protector. He is part of our royal family now. He belongs with us. Murmurs spread through the soldiers. Some bowed again. Some stared in disbelief. Others looked at Elias with respect. The queen raised her spear high. Kneel. She commanded. The entire army knelt at once. Elias looked around helplessly. Why are they kneeling? The queen smiled gently. Because you earned it. She held out her hand. Come forward, Earthfather. Elias hesitated, but the triplets nudged him. Go, they whispered. This moment is for you. He stepped forward slowly. His boots sank into the soft glowing grass. The queen bowed her head as he approached, a gesture so powerful it made Elias freeze. We honor you today. Queen Serapha declared, you saved our future. You saved my children, and so before all my people. She placed her hand over her heart. I name you Earth Father of the Astral Claw Empire. The triplets ran to him, hugging him from all sides. You are our father now, they said softly. Not by blood, but by heart. Elias's throat tightened. He had lived a simple life. On a harsh planet, he had never known family. He had never expected love. But now 3 little voices, warm and trusting, called him theirs. The queen lifted her spear. A beam of blue light rose into the sky. The soldiers cheered. Long live the Earth Father. Long live the heirs. Long live the queen. Elias felt tears in his eyes. He looked at the queen. I don't know how to be a father, he admitted. She smiled. You already are. The triplets held his hands as royal guards surrounded them protectively. A royal ship lowered its ramp. Come, the queen said. The palace awaits. Your place is with us now. Elias took one last look at the forest. One last look at the life he had lived. Then he stepped onto the ramp with the triplets. Beside him, he wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He wasn't just a human dot. He was Earth Father Protector of the royal heirs, and the galaxy had already begun to change because of him.